Welcome to our Wellness Hub. My name is Monici. I'm a mindset coach and I help women who feel stuck or overwhelmed in their lives. I also interview experts in the field of health, wellness, healing, and mindset to offer additional support to people in their journeys of healing and ultimately thriving in their lives. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Alessandra Fabrello. She's a strategic communication expert. Alessandra, thank you for being here. Tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and what have you created to help individuals from around the world, specifically parents of special needs children. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mani. This is wonderful to be here. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is wonderful. A little bit about me. Well, I was born in South Africa and I did my postgraduate studies and worked in Europe and then worked in Asia and finally found my way to the United States, where I now call North Carolina home. My son was born a well, healthy baby. And prior to my son's birth, I worked with the United Nations. My background is international law, international relations, and conflict resolution. I took a hiatus when I fell pregnant and my son was born. And 9 months after my son's birth, he was diagnosed with acute necrotizing encephalopathy of childhood, ANEC. He suffered an acute attack. So very little is known about this disorder. It is extremely rare. It is life-threatening and with an extremely high mortality rate. My son at 9 months was given 24 hours to live, and it has been 19 years of what was a 24-hour prognosis to now a 19-year battle to live. And it has been my son and I together that have fought to survive. I became my son's primary and sole caregiver. He requires 24/7 care, and that is what I've done. Advocating for his needs, advocating for what he needs to live, over and above fighting to keep him alive, and then fighting for what he needs to live. And over time, I realized that I needed to fight for my own survival. And there came a turning point a few years ago where I was barely surviving. I was weighing under 100 pounds. I was mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically burnt out, financially in ruin, unable to work. And something had to change. And I had spent so much time advocating for my son and children like my son, as well as myself, at the highest level within our state and within our country, at federal level, at national level. And this was something that wasn't getting anywhere. It was falling on deaf ears. I had no voice. I was just a mother with a severely neurologically injured, medically fragile and complex child. What did I know? How did I know what my son needed? How did I know what I needed? I knew that something had to change on a global scale, on a national scale, on a state scale for our children and for our families. But what was I going to be able to do right now in the weeds on the battlefield to survive, to keep my son alive, to keep myself alive so I could keep him alive? So I realized that this was an issue with so many parents of children with medically fragile children. I was not alone. And although there is a support group, and even though there's an advocacy group, the advocacy is long-term. You are fighting for long-term changes. But how are you going to survive here and now? How are you going to get what you need now? And having the support and knowing that you're not alone is one thing that assists in keeping your sanity to some degree. But no one tells you what to do. And I realized no one was going to help. So I decided to become my first client. Years of working at the United Nations in conflict resolution, strategy, effective communication, strategic communication, negotiation. I decided I'm going to be my first client, and I had to find a way, which I did. And things moved, things changed, and very quickly. And I learned how to use my voice. So it's not just a matter of using your voice, but how to use your voice. And using that voice strategically and effectively to get what you need, to secure your needed and desired outcomes efficiently and effectively. So I started using this over and over and over again and battle tested this strategy, and it worked, and decided now it's time to help those who are in the same position, parents of medically fragile children. And that's what I've been doing, using a strategic framework that is built on 3 pillars. It's built on effective communication, strategic navigation, and empowered transformation, because you want to go from where you are, where you don't want to be, to where you need to be. So it's not only about what is needed for you and your child, it's about survival, but going beyond, because so many of us parents are fighting to keep ourselves alive. We are essentially indispensable lifelines for our children, and at the same time, simultaneously fighting for our own survival, which is what so many individuals that come into our life don't understand. Whether it's at policy level, whether it's in the provider level, organizations and agencies that work to assist us in providing services, or the medical profession, they do not understand the definition of caregiver and parenting. They are not the same thing. And particularly for medically fragile children, you are constantly in this fight or flight, hypervigilant state, and you are burnt out and you are isolated. So you live in this world where you are unseen, unheard, and you are invisible. And you are made to feel that. You are made to feel as though you are just a vessel through which another individual can live. And when you use your voice, you are dismissed because you are technically just a mother. So when you become a mother, it is very difficult to assert your experience and your credibility to begin with. When you go to a doctor and you have a newborn baby, you're just a mother. And trying to express that you know your child, you fighting that already. Put on top of that a child that can lose his or her life any minute of any given day, and you go to a medical provider and you're going to say, you know better, you know your child. They're going to look at you and say, well, I've spent 15 years specializing in this. What do you know? So, and it trickles down in every aspect. Also at policy level, what services and what needs does your child require and need? You're completely dismissed. And eventually you experience this slow erosion of who you are. Your identity is lost. Your self-esteem is eroded. Your confidence is battered, and you are mentally exhausted. But at the same time, 24 hours a day, you have to make extremely important life-saving decisions that rest on you. That is your responsibility. Without help, right now, it is global, but particularly in our country, we have a massive shortage of nursing care. And beyond medically fragile children, in-home care assistance is at a historic low. So parents are unable to go to work. You are battling a financial strain and many financial ruin. You can't go to work. And you are taking care of a child without respite, no relief. And there's no reprieve when you are keeping someone alive. And it's this vicious circle that you can't get out. And that is when I realized if I didn't make it, my child wasn't going to make it. So it was a matter of survival for both of us that brought me to this place of an ability to move past not surviving to just surviving to thriving and living fully for both me and my son, and to reclaim that power, reclaim your life, and be able to give back and do this for other families. And that is what I'm passionate about. And over time, I have evolved and become collaborative with nonprofit organizations, and one in particular, which is Advocates for Medically Fragile Children. So my work has transitioned into a greater field as well, and been able to make a difference for these wonderful parents. I deal a lot with mothers particularly, but parents at the same time, because so many fathers or spouses or partners are equally involved. Mothers tend to be gravitated first, and I call them my mums in shining armor, because they are. And that is what I'm currently doing.
Your story is so inspiring, and you are a very, very strong human being to have gone through what you have gone through and to come out thriving on the other side. So now you told me that you created a program. How does it work?
My program that I've developed goes beyond only parents of children with special needs. It is built on that premise. So my work is still one-on-one, highly customized work with parents of special needs. And the program now is taking it beyond. Parents with children of special needs still take the program, but it is expanded to include individuals who are wanting to incorporate the methodology and the framework and the strategy to achieve as individuals, either in their personal or their professional life, which is essentially what I have come to call own your yes in a world of no's. So to be able to transition and turn roadblocks into opportunities and use that ability effectively, strategically, and efficiently, and be able to go from overwhelm, isolation, or just to simply feeling lost, or in circumstances where you are not being seen, you're not being heard, you are not advancing in your personal life, it would translate in the same mechanism, to move beyond that, to claim your power, to take back control of your life, to be able to write your narrative and determine the outcomes and goals that you choose, that you need, and that you want. And from that, to be able to design a life that is aligned with your needs and your values and your priorities, so that you live a life that is balanced, that is thriving, you live fully, and a life that you love.
Alessandra, time is flying. I love the way you communicate everything so clearly on this important and quite difficult topic. Tell the audience one important tip that for parents of special needs children that you want to give today before we go.
Don't give up. Don't let up. You can do it. You will get there, even in your darkest hour. Last tip. Your voice and how you use your voice is your most powerful and valuable asset.
Wonderful. Alessandra, thank you so much. Time really flew by. Thank you for coming here and sharing this important story and deep story and your knowledge to help parents of special needs children in their difficult journey. It's a very difficult journey. The audience will find all your information below, and thank you again. And until next time, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.